we have a proclamation to read for Aging Matters in Brevard. I'll read it. Proclamation of the Town of Grant-Valkaria, Florida, whereas Aging Matters in Brevard, originally known as the Community Service Council, was incorporated as a not-for-profit organization on June 7, 1965, and today promotes the independence, health, safety, and quality of life of seniors countywide. And whereas Aging Matters is now the leading agency providing direct services to seniors across Brevard County and is kicking off its 60th anniversary 2025-2085 Champions Initiative on July 1st. And whereas having grown alongside Brevard County now includes more than 90 staff members and mobilizes more than 800 volunteers who drive more than 400,000 miles. And whereas together, staff and volunteers with support from a myriad of supporters provide life-changing services annually to hundreds of seniors countywide, including 79,000 hours of companionship, respite, socialization, safety, and wellness checks, and light housekeeping in 2024. And whereas prepared more than 425,000 meals at its Brevard Community Kitchen and distributed them daily through its Meals on Wheels program, weekly at 13 seniors at lunch community dining centers, and monthly provided pet food to 160 clients through Pets on Wheels. And whereas installed 178 ramps and 2,100 grab bars, operated the Sunflower House, which provides critical caregiver support, recruited RSVP retired senior volunteer program volunteers for its own, recruited RSVP volunteers for its own and many other organizations, and conducted bone builders classes for 370 seniors to prevent osteoporosis. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Grant-Valkaria of Brevard County, Florida, does hereby recognize and commend Aging Matters in Brevard for 60 years of distinguished service to the citizens, and particularly the senior citizens of Brevard County, and congratulates the Board of Directors and leadership team for a job well done. Done, ordered, and adopted this 13th day of August, 2025. And I can't say enough about these folks. I know they helped my parents when they needed it. They were just wonderful, and I hope they stay around forever. But we have a plaque for you. So.
Yep, but we do need a motion.
Oh, we do?
Yes.
I make a motion to accept the proclamation. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Please come on up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, everyone appreciates it.
Appreciate it.
Oh, no.
It means so much to us.
Your service is really amazing. Okay, we have presentations by our county sheriff deputies.
It was great.
See you.
I will.
Madam Mayor, good evening. Council members, good evening. This is my first meeting, so I'm a little nervous, as you can probably tell.
Oh, you don't have to be.
And also, good evening to the good people of Grant-Valkaria. So, my name is Jason West. I'm a lieutenant with the Brevard County Sheriff's Office. I was just recently moved to our south precinct from our east precinct, which is Merritt Island. I was a supervisor up there for 4 years or so, and I'm now down here. So, I'm very excited to be down here. Learning the area is been challenging. It's a very big precinct compared to Merritt Island.
It's from
So,
Sarno, right?
what's that?
What is the south precinct?
So South Precinct runs essentially from Pineda to the county line,
Oh, wow.
and Merritt Island
Yeah.
is Merritt Island, you know, so very, very much smaller. So a little bit about myself. I've been with the Sheriff's Office for 22 years now. The majority of that was spent in investigations. Then I promoted to sergeant for 4 years, and full disclosure, I've been a lieutenant about a week now. So,
Congratulations.
So, yeah, my first town meeting, so am I doing okay so far? So, I guess I'm going to read through the monthly stats that were provided to me. And I don't know if you guys had copies or.
Raise up the
I'm sorry.
microphone so we can hear
Okay.
you.
You want to make copies? or-
Raise up the microphone
Okay,
so we can hear.
I think you need to raise up your.
Raise up the mic, okay. How's that? Is that much better? Okay, all right. So, forgive me, these are, can be a little boring. If you have any questions as to what any of these these calls for service are for, please, feel free to stop me and ask me what that is.
They usually go over just like the highlights, right? They don't go through every one.
Okay,
So you don't
okay.
have to.
That's good, because there's like
Yeah.
probably 40 different
Yeah.
call
If
ins.
there's anything outstanding, something
So-
you think is important.
Okay. I promise the next time I'll be
Oh, that's.
much more smooth.
That's-
So I did see that there were 2 reported vehicle burglaries in the month of July, and I did some research on those. As you may know, these stats, when the analyst kind of goes through them, they kind of capture some incidents that happen or occur on the interstate as well. So I believe those 2 vehicle burglaries are associated with incidents that happened on the interstate itself. Let's see here. 6 disturbances. There were 3 reports of fraud or forgeries. Let's see, going through here. 2 missing person reports. I think that involves a juvenile that we are continually having issues with, but our investigators are kind of addressing that issue. Patrol areas. Many patrol areas. There were 73 patrol areas for residences, 30 for the park or for parks. Let's see here.
How's the traffic?
Traffic enforcement. Let's see here. There was 15 traffic enforcement CRs stamped. Now, when the traffic enforcement call is stamped, that means the deputy is conducting traffic enforcement and may conduct 8, 10, 12 stops during that time frame. So it's just because there was 15, there might have been, if you accumulate all those together, there could have been 100 stops altogether on that. And I do have some other numbers that I'll go on to here in a second. There was a stolen vehicle. I do believe, I looked that up, I think it was a semi stolen off the interstate. We're part of the construction. So, any other incidents that they kind of cover? I'm going through the list pretty.
No, that's,
it's kind of,
anything, there's large numbers of something or something
yeah, no,
unusual.
it definitely seemed like a pretty fairly quiet month compared to any property crimes. I don't see really anything with any type of violent crimes associated with anything. And then the fraud forgeries, which were great. So
Yeah, we're concerned with the traffic and the speeding on Grant Road, Valkaria Road. We've got some of your deputies overtime.
yes.
Working
So
with us.
in reference to the off-duty details, I've spoken to Jessica. Nice to meet you, by the way.
You too.
Okay. And just in the last 3 days, the deputies that have been working have been actually been very proactive. I think it's only a 3-hour window from I think the first one is from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Yeah.
and then 3 to 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So this one particular deputy worked at 3 different details, conducting a total of, let's see here, it'd be 19 stops. Warnings were issued to everyone except for 1, 2, 3 citations were issued. So obviously the issuing of a citation depends on the violation and other factors, but at least it's the high visibility of the deputy being out there and conducting this enforcement. If the individuals that pass through Grant-Valkaria are aware on a daily basis, obviously traveling to and from work, if they see these deputies, they know that they can't speed through Grant Road. Okay?
That's the plan.
So obviously I will, going forward, I will keep a close watch on the activity that the deputies contribute from the off-duty details, along with the traffic enforcement from our regular road patrol.
We appreciate
So,
it. We think it seems to be working,
yes.
actually, they're
So
doing a good job.
I can tell you, I was an investigator down here for many years. Driving around at night is way different than driving like 8 to 5 during the day. So I'm still kind of learning my way around. So, is this regular questions?
Yeah.
Any questions? I pretty much covered it, unless you have any other questions about anything.
That's fine.
So, questions to you guys, to these guys?
Anyone back there have questions? Yes?
Yes, sir.
Got notes, continued illegal dumping on Grant Road,
Okay.
continuing problem, right, that we don't seem to.
Do you have a certain block range for that?
Yeah, right across from Cypress Creek in that area, they tend to dump there, and then also down off of Berry, close to, we see a lot of abandoned vehicles down there.
Is it like trash, or is it like
Vehicles,
yard debris?
trash, yeah. there's
Okay,
all
just-
sorts of stuff.
Okay, all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Reported sexual predators at 250 Grant Road, homeless camp. That seems to be known. And if that's true, we need a,
It's a homeless camp with sex offenders? Is that what you're
that
saying?
that is exactly what was
Okay.
reported.
Okay.
At 250 Grant Road in the woods by the paintball field. And if that's the case, we need to move them along. No, that's in Grant.
Is that
They've already.
You know where the paintball field
That has
is?
been addressed.
Okay.
The sheriff's department has.
They haven't addressed it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
And moved
Do we know
along
if
the
they moved them
individual
along?
that's registered in the woods?
That's what I've been told.
That's what we've been told.
The sheriff's department.
I can definitely look into that and send the information to whoever would like it, to you, sir, or? however you
No,
want.
no.
Send it to
To Jessica?
Yeah,
Okay, got it.
Right. They'll let everybody else know.
Gotcha, Barry, 250 Grand Road, homeless camp.
There are a number of vehicles that seem to get left, abandoned vehicles, Barry and Old Dixie.
Barry and Old Dixie?
Yeah.
Yeah,
On the
one
right-hand
was-
side,
are they-
I've seen several. Well, we had the dump truck that was there for three weeks, or 4 weeks.
Well, the sheriff's
The
department
RV
came and got
right.
it, they came and got it,
I-
but it
I-
takes them a while to get to things like that.
I understand, I'm reporting it, like these are recurring problems.
Sure,
right?
absolutely.
Enforcement problems.
Old Dixie and Barry, you said, sir?
Yeah, I
Okay, got
Barry
it.
and Old Dixie, yeah. Yep, and we continue to see homeless problems.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I will confirm obviously the information about the camp, just to make sure that,
Yeah.
that it was rectified and resolved and they were moved to another location and obviously any violations addressed.
Yep, thank you.
And then the illegal dumping. Do they ever send you pictures, excuse me one second, do they ever send you pictures of the dumping, or, so I can have kind of an idea of what we're looking
If you
at?
give me an address, I'll send you pictures.
Okay, I can get with you afterwards, or give South Precinct at bcso.us.
I got it on speed dial.
Okay, there you go. You send anything there, it goes to the commander, the
Yep.
precinct commander, and to the 3 lieutenants, I'll get it.
Yep.
So, any other issues, sir?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, fine.
Bonnie.
Hello. I am Treasure Coast Marina on US 1. We are right in between the 2 boat ramps on US 1. Both of those ramps are inaccessible on the weekends. There's just so many people there and they fill it up. And they park their trucks and trailers all along the shoulders of the road and in the median of the road from one ramp to the other. I'm in the middle. The issue I have is when they park like that and they're not sighted or made to move, they jeopardize everybody along that section of US 1, because if you're trying to pull out of, in our case, the marina's driveway, but there's a lot of residences along there too that are blocked in. When you pull up to the edge of your driveway and you look out, you can only see boats and trailers. You
On the side
cannot
of,
see
on
the
the side of the road?
streets.
Okay.
We have a couple of signs in front of our place, but they're not placed properly because the people with the trailers and the trucks park in between the signs.
Yes, ma'am.
So if there would be some way that we could get additional signs that were placed maybe every, I don't know, 20, 30 feet, because the average length of a unit is about 35 to 40 feet, we could stop that, because somebody is going to get hit. I get hit, close to get hit almost every week trying to pull out onto US 1 from our driveway, and I know all the people that live along there all complain to us about it too.
Right.
There's businesses, there's the Eagles Club, there's a boat dealership, there's residences, there's Airbnbs along there that people are not familiar with the area because they're staying as tourists. We've already had one of our servers at the restaurant killed trying to cross the street because he couldn't see the oncoming traffic.
Do I look familiar to you, Bonnie? You remember giving me key lime pie probably?
Yeah. I kept looking, he's like,
Yeah. I'm a lot thinner now, so.
I know this guy, I know
But the
this
best
guy.
key lime pie ever, so.
Yeah, but anyway, if they could just, I know it's hard to police that, I know you can't have, you got other more important things you have to look at than people
It can
parking on
definitely
the
be
side of the
addressed.
road, but signage would help us a lot.
Okay, the signage issue, is that?
The signage is an MDOT, we'll reach out to them and
Okay,
see if
okay.
they.
As far as the enforcement, I will also contact our ag marine unit, that would enforce that particular area. and see
They're
if
not
they can
hard to
help
find,
everyone.
they're boats at the end of my dock.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
I will
Still got
tell
that
you
key lime
personally
pie?
that it is super dangerous at the intersection of First and US one.
Yes,
They park on the northbound, south side of that intersection, right? And you cannot see coming out of the gas station.
there's been several motorcycle people just annihilated at that
Happens all the
intersection.
time. It is super dangerous, and we seem to have almost no enforcement on that
Okay,
side.
first in US one, you're saying that it's difficult to pull out?
Right in front of Rib
Northbound
City.
US one.
Okay, I was gonna say, is that next to Rib City? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm a rib guy, so.
He knows that place too.
Yeah, definitely. Coconut green pie there if you guys are interested.
If you come back to see us, I can hook you up with more key lime pie.
I will definitely be by. So, but I will definitely address that with our traffic unit too, to see if they can come down with motorcycles and see what they can do more enforcement.
But,
Thank you.
unfortunately, as a voter, there is nowhere to park, and you've got people from coming all over the place using our boat ramp. That's the unfortunate part. Where are we supposed to park at? I know I've gotten ticketed for parking on the side of the road,
Sure.
and I was not in a no parking thing or not,
Yeah.
but
I do, we dealt with this
unfortunately, there's no
issue.
parking. I mean, where are people supposed to park at when they're going out on the boat?
Right, we also dealt with this issue up on the island, obviously, with, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Kelly Park. Especially on holiday weekends, it gets bananas.
I don't even try holiday
Yeah,
weekends anymore,
yeah.
I gave up. It's just
I will,
too
the
much
signage, will probably, will help, some traffic enforcement, and if our ag marine guys can kind of navigate, the boat trailers in and out of there, that would be great, so.
Thank you.
Parking. We could use some more parking out here now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No problem.
Yeah, I kinda had to park kind of across the parking lot, I had to walk.
There's parking.
Plenty of parking, slowly parking.
You just follow the road, there's more parking. You just have to walk a little bit. You have to walk. Okay?
Any other questions?
Anything else?
Concerns? Yes, ma'am.
Karen Taylor, just an observation, in the Keys, they have manned and unmanned police cars all along US one, or whatever, I think it's US one down there. And it really deters a lot of people, maybe not the locals, but people that aren't familiar. Do you
Okay.
have any vehicles that you could park along Grant Road?
I am sure that, we do
I
do
saw
that
one
every once in a
tonight.
while.
I saw one tonight, and there's one out there.
But even unmanned?
Yeah.
Just so
I
you
can-
think somebody might.
I can
be
definitely kind of step up the deployment of that vehicle. I just know that, the thing is, you have to constantly move that vehicle from place to place. I've seen stuff on the internet where people will start putting signs on patrol cars that have been there for weeks. For sale signs. Yeah, for sale signs, I've seen those, yeah, but the key is to move it around and, have a vehicle where it looks like there might be somebody sitting in it, so when they drive by, they know that the seat's not empty, so. Yeah, that's probably a good idea, put a uniform on them.
If they get the CPR dummy.
Yeah, there you go, that'll work. Just, or a mask on the headrest, just looks like it's somebody that's sitting there. So. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, you guys were very nice, it was painless, I appreciate it. Next time I won't be as nervous, maybe some more jokes, I don't know, we'll see. You guys have any other questions for me?
That's okay?
Okay.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very much, have a good
See you
evening.
next month, right?
Right. See you, Bonnie, I'll be by. Thank you.
Okay, next we'll have our space West Coast TPO is gonna please, Southern Brevard Trails Master Plan. Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
I don't think I'm as tall, but I think this will still work. So, all right. Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Travis Hills with Kittleson and Associates. I'm the consultant with the Space Coast TPO. Did want to recognize Sarah Crom, Senior Transportation Planner with the Space Coast TPO, here as well. So, am I? I'll let you know. Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, so next slide. So a little bit on the presentation outline. So what I'll talk to you today, the project goals, vision goals, and the study area that we looked at for the Southern Brevard Trails Master Plan. Summary of existing conditions analysis, talk a little bit about stakeholder and public outreach. Very briefly on the trail hierarchy and typology system, a little bit on the recommended trails network, and then really spend a lot of that time talking through how we prioritize them and how are we potentially going to get these trails built. I forgot to mention, so at your place, hopefully you all have the slide deck in front of you so you can flip along with me. And there's two sets of maps as well. The first set is 2 pages. It's the prioritized trails in Grant-Valkaria. And then the latter having like 7 other pages that's the prioritized trail network for the entire study. So have that at your place that you could flip through. Excellent. So a little bit on the project vision, goals, and the study area. So really what we're trying to promote is active transportation and really making sure we're providing recreational facilities for promoting public health. And so we know that Southern Brevard County, Grant-Valkaria, a lot of the local municipalities in this area really promote trails, walking, biking, paddling, all sorts of different kind of outside recreation activities. So really these were kind of the core principles that we used for our study and really kind of helped shape the different prioritized trails that we recommended. So our study area, as I mentioned, we're in Southern Brevard County, so basically everything south of Palm Bay Road. So it went south of Palm Bay Road, west of the St. Johns River, east to US 1, and then down to the Indian River County line. And then I want to give just kind of a high level of kind of where we're at in the planning process. So kind of a little bit of education on kind of how we get from where we are today to construction. There are numerous different steps, and so kind of that inverted pyramid that you see there. I like to say we're at that 10,000 foot level. So we're at that, what we're calling in this case a sub-area study, a feasibility, just kind of that planning, overall planning, study, long-range transportation plan effort. Really this helps us identify areas that we can potentially recommend and move forward with further detailed study. And then the timelines that you see there, unfortunately, we're not going to go out and start construction tomorrow, but we are somewhere between probably 10 and 15 years away from building trails unless something kind of gets accelerated, unless funding becomes available. But typically that's the timeline that you're looking at from kind of where we are today. And then very briefly, summary of our existing conditions analysis. So, was that one slide? Oh, yep, okay, perfect. All right, so an overview of the existing conditions. So the first thing that we started with was mapping all of the existing and planned trails in our study area. This is really what we're going to use to help kind of tie everything together as a starting point. And then also looking at land use destinations, demographic data, and a lot of kind of the multimodal transportation infrastructure that's in Southern Brevard County. So you see some of the maps that we had there. We used all that data to develop an active transportation propensity index. I'm going to struggle to say that for the rest of the presentation, but I'll talk a little bit more about that here over the next few slides. So like I said, mentioning or kind of going through the existing and planned trails to start with, everything that you see up here, the solid lines, those are the existing. So you have green, which are the shared use trail or kind of the off-road facilities. And then the purple are those shared use paths or along the roadway. So solid are existing, and then purple are the ones that are planned in the future, or sorry, the dash are the ones that are planned in the future, mainly with kind of future roadway projects that are kind of somewhere or kind of in different phases of project development. And then what we did was we created that active transportation propensity index. This really mapped where we had kind of a majority of the people that would be walking, biking, using trails, using a lot of those facilities. As you would imagine, kind of in Southern Brevard County, a lot of that is concentrated in the city of Palm Bay, so you see kind of those darker areas, but then you do see some down in Mico, kind of in the southeast, Barefoot Bay. And then what we want to do is kind of overlay those two. So really kind of starting with our base of our existing conditions analysis. And what we see is that we do have a lot of existing and planned trails in areas where we would see a lot of people, or majority of the people, kind of walking and biking. We do want to really kind of the goal of this plan was to then kind of help fill in the gaps. And so kind of the areas that may be outside of those darker areas, want to try to connect, via different trail opportunities, whether they're off-road or those kind of on-road shared use paths. So very briefly on our stakeholder and public outreach. So we've held numerous meetings throughout the course of our study. We have a project working group which comprised all of the local municipalities. We met 3 times throughout the project. Grant-Valkaria was a part of that. We had 6 agency stakeholder meetings where we did one-on-ones with the different municipalities, also met with Melbourne-Tillman Water Control District, the EEL program, Indian River County, and the St. Johns River Water Management District. And then we also had an online comment mapping tool that we coupled with our public open house, which was held here. So thank you all for hosting us. Had a really great turnout. A lot of people came out. A lot of people gave great comments and feedback to us. And then we also had a virtual lunch and learn for folks that couldn't come out to that event. And then finally, we're here presenting to all the different town and city councils in Southern Brevard. Really the key takeaways, people want more. They want more facilities, they want more recreational trails, and they prefer to be off-road and or unpaved. So that was kind of the biggest key takeaway. A couple other kind of interesting areas, expanded access to blueways and paddling trails. So we only have 2 of those in the southern portion of the county, so trying to expand that network. And then adding trails and conservation areas with minimal environmental impact. So that was kind of one of the things in our vision and our goals, really kind of trying to couple we want to get people out, get them in nature, but then also conserve the environment as well. So then just very briefly on the hierarchy and typology, I'll bore everyone to death if I talk about this for more than about 30 seconds, but really there's 3 different trail types that we looked at in our trail system. The primary, those are kind of the county-wide, those regional, those bigger kind of showcase trails that kind of go out throughout the county. Secondary trails, those are more kind of city-wide connector trails that go between the different primary trails in the county. And then tertiary, those are kind of the local neighborhood that connect into those secondary trails, but then connect into the bigger primary trails. So then on our recommended trails network, the step, kind of the 5-step process that I'll kind of summarize, obviously starting with that existing, moving forward with trying to connect gaps. And then really the last 2, it's getting recommendations from our stakeholders, from our working group, from the agencies, the different kind of utility providers that met with that P&L, that was one, and then getting input from the public. Those were really the main drivers for the list that you see that we're going to present here in the next few slides. So just very quickly, just kind of reminding everyone kind of where we started. And then what you'll see is if you look closely, if you transition to the next slide, you'll see all of those existing planned trails kind of fade into the background, and then the extra or kind of the additional network that we're recommending to help connect the gaps and to really kind of make sure that we're providing a complete trail network or trail facility down in Southern Brevard County. The one thing I did want to note is that these lines on the map, they are at that 10,000 foot view, they are lines on a map. So I know that we've been in conversations with Jason about where some of these lines go specifically. There are some that are kind of near HOAs. There would be kind of right-of-way constraints there. What we're going to do, so for today, the maps as you see them, they are going to be changing when we go and get this adopted by the TPA board here in a few weeks. We didn't have time to make those changes before this meeting, but hopefully the caveat there that we're at the 10,000 foot view, everything that would move forward is going to go into further study, and we're going to adjust some of these lines on the map based on.
Are you going to come back and talk to us, or have you gotten enough information from Jason to do that?
Yeah, so we met with Jason. We looked at the ones that Jason had concerns about. So we're working to make those edits to the maps right now, and then we're gonna, I think, send those over early next week for Jason's review before they go to the final. Yeah. All right, so overview of the recommended network just in terms of numbers. So we had 255 total miles, about 70 of those were previously planned. We are recommending a little bit over 142 total new miles as a part of this plan. So obviously that's a really ambitious number. There's a lot of steps to take to get to that point, but we want to be ambitious because we want to make sure that we provide that kind of planning level, that potential network that we can go out and build. It is a number of different types of facilities. So we have those off-road shared use trails, the shared use paths that are along road, those on-street facilities, and then some of those unpaved kind of scenic trails, and then the blue ways as well. So really a good mix across the different types of facilities that we're recommending. So once we've kind of come out through the recommended network, we then have to prioritize. And it is a data-driven process, so we really wanted to look at those areas that we think would be the most feasible. And then, like I mentioned, everything came back to public input, stakeholder feedback, and the working group feedback. So what we ended up doing was when we created this prioritized list, we came to all of the different municipalities, and we basically talked through all the different corridors and came up with the list that you see in front of you today. And then you see the top 10 prioritized trails. So these are all in your map packet. So this is for the overall study area. And then kind of more specifically, if you want to go maybe 2 slides specific to Grant-Valkaria. So you see all of the planned trails that you have here along US 1, along Babcock, and then a lot of the Owl Tuttle kind of connections in that kind of green, that dash green that you see kind of more in the middle. And then really what I wanted to highlight is that through our ranking process, we had about 50 different potential trail corridors. It's really exciting to see that Grant-Valkaria has 7 of the top 10. So, you know, if we're looking at prioritization, there's a lot of corridors that are coming to the top of the list for those future feasibility studies in the town. So it's really, really exciting. Hopefully we can get one of these or a couple of these moving forward in the future.
We need to change some of those.
Okay. All right. So next steps on kind of implementation. So it takes a village, and really kind of the summary of this slide, that table at the bottom shows kind of all the different agencies that we coordinated with, all the different steps to get from planning through to construction, and then obviously kind of on to maintenance. And as you see, there's a lot of X marks up there because a lot of folks need to be involved. It takes a lot of agencies to really kind of go from that planning stage through the feasibility, through the design, and ultimately the construction, and then who's going to maintain it. So really that's where we're at, is we're in that coordination phase. We're trying to make sure we're meeting with everybody, making sure everybody's familiar with this plan. And then the next stage would be to conduct those feasibility studies with locals that really want to kind of take the bull by the horns and really kind of push 1 or 2 of these corridors forward. The biggest thing is utilizing and leveraging the Space Coast TPO to help with those planning efforts. And then looking at diverse funding, different funding partners, and expanding those strategic kind of partnerships, both with whether it's DOT, Brevard County, whether it's through the Space Coast TPO, doing some different funding sources like that. There's a lot of different ways that we can hopefully get things built. We just need to be able to get the funding partner, or the partner that wants to come to the table and wants to actually go out and get something built. So with that being said, I'll open it up for any questions.
Nope, the only question we had was you just need to talk to Jason about some of those that you've identified that I thought we had changed a long time ago. So just get with Jason.
Yeah, and like I said, we're going to send those over to Jason early next week, and we'll get you the.
No, we're happy about the trip, the whole system. It's great. We're looking forward to it. We have a real active Trails and Greenways committee. I don't see anybody here from that committee. I guess they didn't hear about your presentation. But they're very active, and we're very excited.
Yeah, we had a lot of advocates come out for our public meeting, and a lot of good folks on the working group as well, really kind of hopefully trying to kind of push this forward.
It's a fun thing, but I'm sad to hear that they're 15 to 20 years away.
10 to 15, ideally. It really, the biggest issue with a lot of projects these days is just the funding. And if there's a funding source that becomes available, a lot of the kind of national grants have become a really good source for that.
If we have shovel-ready trails, does that make it easier to get funding?
Absolutely. But in order to get shovel-ready, then you got to go through those kind of other steps.
Yeah, you got to spend some money.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I see the big purple highway thing is actually the sidewalk that runs in front of my house. So that's what we're diverting all this foot traffic on from Palm Bay. We want to send them right down in front of my house or whatever. And also, I'd like to know, now, what's the difference between a pedaling bicycle? Now we got these ones that are electric. So are electric considered a motorized vehicle like an ATV, or are we discriminate like, oh no, there's still a bike? Or what's the difference there? Because in Grant we ride ATVs and we own land out in the woods like for hunting and stuff, and we got lots out there. So we like to use ATVs to get around, to get out to our hunting land. I don't know anyone who rides a bike, and the only people I know who go hiking have little tents on their backs and like set up homeless camps and whatever. Like Palm Bay has a giant plague of that right now. So it's kind of disturbing that you want to reroute all these homeless people back in the back of my house. As far as, the bike thing with the electric, okay, you got an electric bike, but there's a lot of liberals that want to say, oh no, it's the same thing as a gas-powered vehicle. That's all I'm saying. So if it's a gas-powered bike or it's an electric bike, it is powered by a motor, and you can have all the green everything and the Green New Deal you want to, but it doesn't fly here in Grant. We use ATVs to get around here. And we don't want any trails in back of my damn house. I'll tell you that much.
Thank you. One more question back there.
Okay, just real quick, is there any way to get a copy of this presentation? Because I'd like to see the maps first.
Right.
We can get you a copy.
Maps are posted on our website, but we can, of course, Jason and Jessica, if you guys.
Maybe do we want to wait until we change the maps before?
There's a website that all of this information is on.
And the one thing that I'm really curious about, are you crossing any private property with these trails?
There is right now we're, as Travis said, we're at the 10,000 foot level.
Right.
It's a planning level map, so really it's a swath. What a feasibility study does is really drills in and looks at those
worries.
Yeah.
If you're saying you're gonna go right through the middle of the neighborhood with the trail.
We're not.
No, we're not going right through the neighborhood with the trail.
We'll be sure. Yeah, we'll promote using our right of ways if we can. Our paper rights of way, so they don't want to go through any private property for sure.
Yeah, those are dead on arrival.
Go on.
Hi. I noticed a few things. I was going to ask questions, but it kind of got answered through your presentation.
That's good.
Yeah. Well, funding. I saw we had an X in the box of funding Grant-Valkaria. So you're looking for the town to put money into this?
If there is a desire by the town to build trails in your...
And then is there a plan for maintaining all this? Once everything is laid out, it'll need maintaining, so we're going to have to maintain it also? I mean, what's the whole...
That's typical.
I mean, I don't know if you know Grant-Valkaria well, but this is a pretty private little town where I moved here, bigger lots, fences, dogs, shoot guns in our backyards. We really don't like paths going down, even through right of way. You're still going to basically take a right of way between maybe a couple of 10-acre lots with horses and people.
We're not at that.
You said Pine Sap right there. I know where that is. That ends into all that
is one of
open
the
wood.
ones that are being modified.
Cypress Creek.
And that was another.
But I mean, that goes straight through. I would like it if you left all the Grant-Valkaria out and built all around us. And if we wanted to ride our bicycles, we could throw them in our truck. We could go over to Palm Bay, get on that trail, and ride down to Micco and ride up to Melbourne. But we are a pretty private town. I got involved in this council over something similar.
If the town doesn't want trails, we're not going to build a trail.
This is a private enterprise, I guess?
No, it's a county. It's a county.
The Space Coast TPO is a federally funded government agency that's required in areas for federal and state transportation funds to come to your area.
Okay.
So what we do is we help facilitate getting transportation projects funded and making sure that citizens are involved in the transportation planning process and then support our local municipalities through plans such as this plan. So several years ago, Malabar really pushed for us to get involved. We kind of talked to our other partners, Palm Bay and Grant-Valkaria, and that birthed the idea of let's not just look at Malabar because this is a whole community.
Who makes a decision whether you're going to do it here or not?
If you're your council right here does not support and does not want us to move forward, we are not going to invest funding or staff time and resources into building a trail that's not wanted.
I will say, we had a lot of support from other citizens in Grant.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
When we came and did our public meeting.
I'm just a grumpy old man.
And we do appreciate your concerns, and, you know, if there's a line on the map that is not supported, then it's not gonna be pursued.
It's all country. No matter what line you make, you're gonna be going through a wooded area with people with big properties. No one,
I don't know a single funding source that doesn't require a pretty hefty application process, and I don't think that Jason wants to commit to going through that process with me if it's not something that the town wants.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I just got a quick question. So you look familiar that I seen you over in Rockledge a couple months ago at the meeting.
At the open house.
We're at the Space Coast.
Oh, yeah.
TPO.
Oh, the TPO.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. And that's why I recognize the 10 to 12 to 15 years up. Same thing about the highways that are coming down. And I get it, you guys try to get money from the state, federal government, the whole 9 yards. You also, though, I mean, you're a good thing, but it seems like, just like everybody said, we're talking 15, 20 years out. And again, you're right, that's about funding, you know, and I'm just like him. I moved out here because I want tranquility, you know, and so it's great for exercising and stuff like that, but I gotta throw this out there. I'd be one to keep minimum trails coming through. You know, we're gonna have to deal enough with some roads that possibly might come through because of southern Brevard and the way it's exploded from Pompeii. So I'm just like to throw my 2 cents in there.
We'll probably have more opportunity to do that.
So I want to be clear about something. A proposal to build new trails and bring a bunch of people into the town requires a referendum from the people, right? You may not think so, but I'm telling you, you'll have to get it,
We
right?
will get input from folks.
Yeah, I'm gonna recommend a referendum for the people in the town for building new trails. You already heard 3 people here say some things,
Well,
right?
there's some of us that oppose.
Yeah, I get it.
There's, yeah,
Right.
and like I said,
Right.
when they
Oppose
had,
the 3 that
So
are.
again,
when they had an open house here, we had a big turnout and a lot of people.
sure, I'm sure the bikers in the town showed up, right? But you would want to get input from the entire town about constructing trails
Yes,
and
we
bringing
will,
people in.
yes, thank you for your recommendation, don't worry, we will. Okay, all right, next.
I never heard about your organization because I'm not watching everything about. But I would like to know, you get federal funding, is that to pay for your organization or actually go to build something?
Both.
Both.
So
What percent?
What percent
Yeah.
of pays for?
Because, I mean,
We
you see-
operate with about a $1 million budget for our actual organization, and we invest about 7 to 9 million into projects. So Boots actually constructing projects or designing projects, not planning activities. Like basically, like for example, the Ellis Road widening that's happening up in
So
and
what is your
Melbourne.
yearly budget? What's your yearly budget?
It's about $1 million.
Are you a government organization or are you a
Right.
private, or you're a
No,
private
we-
LLC? or-
We are a government organization. We are a creature of federal law. So, you know, basically the Federal Infrastructure Act is what allocates what the funding sources that we receive, which is through your gas tax. And so we receive money that are called planning funds that are for our actual activities. And then we receive 2 other funding sources that we then, through a grant, essentially a grant program, local municipalities receive to build transportation projects.
Okay, well, the next question is that, yes, you have a certain budget. You're talking about 15 years, we may or may not have a trail here. So that government money does not come here to build a trail. It's way big, it's like a dream. Okay, how much money you expect us to pay for a trail?
So the money, situation with the money is, ultimately we have $2.1 billion worth of transportation needs in Brevard County over the next 25 years.
Transportation, that you are transportation? How about the traffic lights?
We deal with all of that. Trails is like this much of my job. Just on our list of project priorities,
Okay.
trails are competing against the widening of Babcock, the widening of Malabar.
So the
It's
trails
just the
is
reality.
a little noise in your job.
But we have to create, you can't put federal or state funding on something that's not in a plan. So in order for us to actually pursue other additional funding sources, I'm not talking about the, 7 to 9 million that we can allocate to projects, but other grant sources, other state sources that come from different, pots of money, it has to be in a plan and be supported. And so, once again, going back to, we're not going to build something that's not supported. Projects that have local funds on it move faster because you're asking for this much money versus that much money. So, for example, Malabar Road being widening by Palm Bay, they put $7 million, we put $3 million. The only way we were able to fund that design was because the locals came. I'm not going to make you give me money, but it definitely, it helps move because you're trying to fill a smaller deficit, but it also shows local support. As our local municipalities put money where their priorities are, and where there's partners.
What he was saying is that we build something here and have Palm Bay come here to use it. It's just because we're closed and they are huge. So every time you build something anywhere else, it's just for you guys. No, it's ruining our type of life, our kind of life. I've been living here for 39 years, and I came here because I had some room and everything else. But the traffic in this road since then is unbelievable. You try to slow down here, and who slows down? Coming from Palm Bay goes to work? Nobody. So I like that we have to grow, but I don't want to kind of grow that Palm Bay is having to impact our quiet life. So,
All right, thank you. All right, one more, Bonnie, go ahead.
I've lived in Florida my entire life, and I have watched it grow exponentially like weeds and mushrooms all around me. And the quiet life that we had here 20 years ago is gone because of projects like this.
Yes.
You're familiar with the term death by 1,000 cuts? You're making the first cuts. When you said we're at the 10,000 foot level, my hair stood on end because you're rolling this out very gradually, very slowly, and making it look really good to people, but you're not getting down to the nitty-gritties of what this is going to be at the end. When you leave 10,000 feet and you're at about 250 feet, come back and see me then, and I will have some opinions on it, because right now, you're not telling us enough to make this valid for anything for me. And like I said, I protect this community, I protect this area, and I know what these people are talking about. They moved here because it's quiet. We don't want the whole rest of Florida and Georgia and all the people coming down from New York moving to this community because they can ride their bike here. And if that sounds adversarial, I'm sorry, but I've watched this happen too many times.
All right.
Sounds like a lot of people support her.
Yes, it does, and that's good input. All right. Okay, thank you all. We appreciate it. We appreciate all your work, absolutely. Oh, I used to. Okay. Any changes to the agenda?
I have none.
Anybody? No? All right. No, this is just, yeah, it's not the consent agenda. Okay, we have a public hearing, resolution number 17, 2025. A resolution of the town of Grant-Valkaria, Brevard County, Florida, providing for ratification, confirmation, and certification of annual stormwater utility assessment roll, providing an effective date. Jason?
The county has asked that we certify the stormwater roll in August to allow their office more time to process all accounts. The stormwater roll for fiscal year 25-26 will be $118,179.65, which is $8,609.79 more than the prior year.
Okay, so this is just, we have to certify what our taxpayers will be taxed for stormwater. And the county sent us a big list of every property and what that property will be assessed, which basically is all the same, right? Is it around $36, something like that? And that will fund our stormwater projects that we need. So, like Jason said, we have, what we will be receiving is $118,200 or so for stormwater. So we have to pass this resolution to allow this. It's just part of the process. Okay, did you guys get a chance to look over this? Does anyone have a comment on this or a question?
This is something that we do every year, that the county comes and does stormwater assessment, and we just have to prove it.
I heard numbers earlier, you were saying about it was gonna go up, what, $8,000 from last year? And what was the number, like percentage-wise, how much did it go up?
Well, it's not going up any. We've been, for years, we've been taxed $36 per homeowner.
Yeah, it's the same amount as when the town incorporated in 2006. The increase would be improvement on properties. So if you had a vacant land before and then a house was constructed, then your price would go up to $36.
So that's new construction. That $8,000 is for new construction.
Oh, okay.
You see?
We have to prove this every year because the county is what an act based on the county.
I like pictures with numbers. I'm listening, and it's hard to keep track of what's being.
Yeah, I think most of us pay like $36, and to change that, we have to go through a big process, so we haven't done it ever since, like Jason said, since we incorporated.
I understood that it went up 8,000 this year, then we're all chipping in 36 to make up for it.
No, everybody's gotten taxed since we formed the town, $36
That's it.
a year.
And then
And the increase is because there's more houses, more people have moved in, so more people are paying $36. So that comes up to the $8,000.
Oh,
The
wow.
population is growing, they're paying the $36 now, so that's what you. Because if it was a blank lot, they didn't pay hardly any. I mean, it was just a few dollars on blank real estate. Okay? Second.
Okay, I need
I make a motion that we accept.
Oh, there's a number, sorry.
Resolution 17-225.
all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the consent agenda, does anybody want to open anything on the consent agenda? There's 2 sets of minutes. Council? No? All right, go ahead.
I make a motion we accept the consent agenda. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, public comments. I have 2 blue cards. Oh, no one. Okay, Ned, you're first.